opportunity to give your response to that and see if you think there's a fight brewing on these issues this session.
Well, I'm going to continue to advocate for the things that I have been advocating for since running for the office and becoming Secretary of State. And I'm going to encourage all of my colleagues to, if you're going to solve a problem like election reform, you need to try to do it on a bipartisan basis. And to create the environment to do that, you can't get involved in name calling or introducing things that one side or the other would find offensive. You got to create an environment to try to accomplish those bipartisan goals. And my role in the elections process, or in the legislative process, is to try to educate legislators on what we've learned, to point to things that need to be fixed. I mean, for example, we have several major sections of revised code as it relates to third-party candidates, provisional ballots, days and hours that have been invalidated by the federal courts. We have an election that's going. I mean, elections just aren't every 4 years. They go on 4 times a year in our state, and so these things need to be fixed in a timely manner, so that as these other elections are underway, that we have good election law on the books, so that in case there are close elections, these don't become controversies. Because a tax levy matters to somebody that's involved in that as much as any election does, if it matters to you specifically. And so I know that there is a bipartisan effort that Shirley Smith and Bill Seitz in the Senate have started to talk with local boards of elections and begin that process. It is my hope that a similar environment can be created in the House. The priorities that I had laid out in 2011 are the same priorities that I have today. We want to have uniform days and hours in the code so that it's not on a Secretary of State to make a decision. We want to treat voters equally and fairly across the state. Let's work to get the provisional ballot language remedied so that we don't have to rely on court rulings, that we can use the revised code as our guide to how we're supposed to operate on those issues. Continuing to build on all of the online services that have been created. I will continue to try to persuade the General Assembly to do online voter registration. That saves money and it is more secure. But this is not something that they can just wait and do it 3 months before, give us the authority to do this 3 months before the election. I mean, these things take time to get your computer systems and build the safety and security into them when you do this. So I need them to do these things now so that we can have it ready for future elections. And online absentee ballot requests, and all of those kinds of things that will help us focus on what an election should be about. It's not about gaining partisan advantage. It's about customer service to the voter within the resources that we have and local governments have available to provide those services. And if we can create that environment, we have a much better chance of resolving these issues and setting aside some of the bitterness that had been created in the past, frankly, from people who fully intended to create that bitterness and partisanship by the way that they handled past elections.
I might editorialize for a moment and say something that John wouldn't say. I think he ran a non-controversial election, and I think Senator Turner is trying to create controversy where there is none to make campaign issues because she wants to run against him. And I think if you take a step back and look at the election, while folks from both sides complain about little things here and there, by and large, I think it was a well-run election and without controversy. And it wasn't Florida, it was Ohio, and it was run well. And I think she's sort of grasping the straws, trying to create issues where there are none, so that she can have a platform to run against in a campaign. And to his point, I think it's more important to move forward in a bipartisan way and try to bring Democrats and Republicans together for election reform, not be shooting arrows, which it looks like she's doing.
Okay. Question in the back.
Ryan Karp.